Everything in nature has a clock, including you. If you haven't been paying attention to it, watch this, because after this video, you're gonna understand at a deep level how nature is in control over you. The reality is that all over Mother Nature, we see signs of the environment reigning over animals, humans, and nature. I was driving by the other day, I look around and I tell my kid in the back, wow, look at that green grass. It sounds, and I catch myself at the moment because it's such a obvious thing, but the reality is that we're transitioning from winter to spring, and I catch that signal and I highlight that signal to my son because a week ago the grass was yellow. Now that is what we call epigenetics. That is how the environment influences the genetic expression of the grass. It's just like a switch. The environment change, it got a little warmer, it got a little wetter, and the grass pick up the signal when that switch got flipped and start changing colors and it start to grow. That happens everywhere. I was reading about bees. Bees do this at an amazing level. The way they survive the winter is by actually even changing the way that they procreate before the winter. The queen develops this strain of bees that are called winter bees. They are thicker, bigger, stronger. And the reason for them to exist is because in the winter, the bees goes inside their hub and the queen goes in the middle. The young bees go around her, and then the bigger bees stay on the outer shell. They vibrate to keep heat around 90 to 100 degrees. And the thicker layer, the thicker guys, are the ones that make this happen. They are here to survive the winter, and then they move on. The next generation that comes in the spring are going to be smaller bees, and they're most likely going to be genetically ideal to pollinate or to bring food, to bring resources to the hive. This is amazing. Now, what I want you to understand is that you have that same genetic input. The genetic input that they have, the bees, is to survive. And you have the exact same genetic input for your survival. Now, I don't know about you, but I know in 2025, our need for survival is a lot lower than it was thousands and thousands of years ago. Now we actually want to thrive. And that's the thing, that our brain has evolved to allow us to survive. Our brain's mission is not to allow us to thrive. It doesn't really recognize that health care is a lot way ahead, that there's grocery stores down the street, that we have heating and air. It still triggers those same mechanisms that it did thousands of years ago to help us to survive. And that's where the big crash comes in place, because in the winter, the instinct of energy conservation kicks in, avoidance of risk kicks in, procreation so that the human race keeps going. Those are in your DNA, those are in your input, and those express at a non-conscious level. Your body start lowering their metabolism. You start saving fat around your belly, around your midsection, and everywhere, depending what genetical biotrend do you have. But that happens even though you want to lose weight, even though you want to be fit, even though you want to look great. You don't go to work out even though you want it. Is there something stopping you or telling you very subtly that you don't need to go work out this time of the year? Just stay home and watch TV and eat some carbs so that you can survive. That happens all year round. It's because a switch turns on and off based on our environment. And that's my favorite description of epigenetics, which is switches that turn on and on based on the environment to express your genes. Your genes are always there, but they're being turned on and off. So what I want you to understand is that the way that we can leverage the environment is by, number one, becoming extremely aware of what's happening around us, starting to pay attention. And there are some shortcuts that we can take so that we can start to understand these patterns throughout the year. And we call them seasons. Civilizations start growing and became who we are thanks to the recognition of the seasons. If you plant in a certain time, perhaps in the spring, then you're going to get a very different result than if you plant in the fall. Once civilization figured this out, we were able to leverage the seasons. And that has been what got us up to this place as a civilization, as humanity. But that changed over 150 years ago when technology and industrialization start ticking. And we have seen an exponential improvement in technology that perhaps we're still getting used to. An example would be the amount of blue light that we're experiencing. An example would be the convenience of having so many food sources that weren't available during certain seasons. I don't want to get too deep into this video, but what I want you to recognize is that if you are not making conscious decisions, you're most likely being led by survival instincts that no longer fit what you're trying to achieve. So I bring you to awareness, number one. The next step is to leverage them. Because you perhaps are not a farmer anymore. You perhaps are not planting You perhaps are living a very different life than somebody 100 and thousands of years ago. But the reality is that there is still ways to honor the seasons and their energies to leverage them. The goal is to achieve more with less effort compared to when we're in complete isolation and we're in complete non-conscious thinking of how the environment even affects us in the first place. Knowing by epigenetics, what is above your genes is the environment in your lifestyle. When you combine the understanding of the environment with a lifestyle that matches that environment, the version is yourself, the best version of yourself. So your genes, who you are, how you're born with, plus the understanding of the environment and a healthy lifestyle that is in alignment with that environment, then the result is the best version of yourself. And what I want you to understand that it is possible. It is not something that it is abstract. By leveraging the seasons, we can understand at a deep degree what is happening in the environment right now, in your specific geographic area. And you can basically put away all those generic advices that you're hearing everywhere in YouTube or in Google or from gurus that perhaps tell you that if you do this one thing, if you do this one hack. Well, number one, genes. You have to truly know who you are. And there are many convenient and affordable ways to do that today. I will invite you to do so, and you can check our resources because we can guide you in the right direction. Number two is understanding your environment and then creating a lifestyle, which essentially is a routine, which essentially is a combination of habits, which essentially is behaviors that you do consistently. The key here is that they are in alignment with the season. I don't know about you, but where I live, it gets dark in the winter by 5 p.m. and it gets dark in the summer by 9:30. The winter and the summer, when you compare the light between the two of them, is 1.5 times longer in the summertime. There has to be a behavioral adaptation to it to achieve more with less effort. Otherwise, we're out of sync. Otherwise, we are out of alignment. There is a circadian rhythm disruption. My invitation to you is simple. Give it a like, and let's keep watching videos in this channel, which will guide you towards understanding more about the environment and how it affects you at a deep level. Thank you so much for watching. Give it a like, give it a follow. And if you want more resources, please don't forget to check our description down below so you can get hooked up in one of our amazing resources, whether it is to understand your genetic input, whether it is to learn how to create seasonal routines. We can guide you every step of the way. Thank you for watching.